everybody, and welcome to another episode, another edition of Full Court Cleveland. We are live from our studios, Toasty Studios in Lakefront. And outside, it looks quite different than it feels inside. But I don't know, if the weather was outside the way it is inside, I'll be getting my clubs ready and getting ready. Maybe forget the clubs, just go into the pool. But hey, here we are, post All-Star game. Down the stretch they come, and we're going to be talking about everything going on around the Cleveland Cavaliers, the best team in the East, and tied for the best record in the NBA. And also we're going to be talking about what's going on in the world of the NBA. Ryan Tyler is in the studios, controlling the clock more than anything else. Sam Amico joining me. I'm Rafa Hernandez Brito. Welcome to another edition. Sam, how was your break? Do you enjoy the All-Star break?
Yeah, I really do. We obviously running a website, I have to continue to update that 24/7, whether it's in the All-Star break or in August. But it's a nice break. I'm not going to Cavs games. I miss it. After like 4 days, you miss it. Like, when do we get to go back up to Rocket Arena now? And that time is here. The Cavs are back, and the season is back, and we got the playoffs right around the corner.
Well, you mentioned one of the things we're going to be talking about. Rocket Arena is the new home of the Cleveland Cavaliers. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the tough stretch the Cavs have starting on the road to begin the unofficial second half of the NBA season, even though we passed 41 games quite a bit ago. And also, we're going to be talking about what's going on around the NBA. We're going to be forecasting on those guys that are what is now called the play-in, the 6th, the 7th to 10th spot. There are some teams that are in that maybe weren't in last year. There are some teams that are out that could be making it. The good news or bad news for some is that the difference between sometimes even 4 and 12 is not that much, or it's not something like something catastrophic has to happen for changes to be made. So that is going to be something, and we're going to be talking about All-Star Weekend. Whether or not the NBA was able to correct, in my point of view, they corrected some. They got some other stuff even worse than the years before. But that's why we're here today, to talk about everything that is going on in the NBA. Right off the bat, your take on the All-Star break.
I always enjoy the Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
That's never a disappointment to me, because especially three-point competition, you can't mess that up, right?
Especially when the Cavs win it.
Right, when the Cavs win it
challenge.
in the skills challenge. I enjoy that part of it. The dunk competition, I know people are like, oh, it's run its course. I don't think so. Just keep bringing guys out to dunk. I don't think that we need to get over the top about the dunk competition. I think that we can just enjoy things. And that's what I've always done on Saturday night. Sunday to me was, I had a good attitude like I have right now. Going into Sunday, I can't wait to see this tournament format. And I sat there bored. I was bored with the game. I thought that a lot of the guys played harder. I thought Victor Wembanyama brought an edge. I thought Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, and Donovan Mitchell played pretty hard. But I don't like the format. I tried to, I gave it a shot, went in with a positive attitude. I agree with Darius Garland, who said you need to go back to East versus West and see what happens.
And you don't mind me going off script here, right? So we'll make that the main topic of the thing. But, just to recap what happened, Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley won the skills competition. It was shorter than before, which I liked.
Yeah.
We talk about Wembanyama and Chris Paul trying to outsmart everybody and outsmart the league without reading the notes, but everything. Garland made the finals of the three-point shooting contest, and in that case, sometimes you bring it, sometimes the ball wants to go in, sometimes the ball doesn't want to go in, and at the end of the day, Tyler Hero won it after having barely making it into the final round and then lighting it up in the finals. The format, obviously, we talked about. The second least watched All-Star game of all time. We'll talk about why we think that is. And also, the contest. I enjoyed it. I have fun. I don't think there's anything wrong with McClung. Even though going back to the G League after winning, 3 in a row, the first time that somebody wins it 3 times in a row. And I was a little disappointed. I don't want to get too far ahead of the topic. We're gonna go one by one. We're gonna talk about Cavs. We got some rumors. We're gonna talk about the stretch. We're gonna talk about some potential reunions rematches. I don't know, with Luka playing the Mavericks, with Middleton playing. My God, Chris Middleton is in Washington.
Yeah.
Wow. And
he's gonna be
he's gonna be playing the Bucks. And we got some other matches coming up down the stretch. The Suns trying to make it into the play-in with Durant, who didn't want to get traded, with Butler, and the Warriors. Well, more than anything else, is Draymond Green saying that they're going to win the championship. I still would like to get an explanation on that on that forecast. But that and so much more, we have it ready for you in this episode of Full Court Cleveland. We'll come back. Hey everybody, welcome back to Full Court Cleveland from the Big Play Studios in Lakefront, and also live. Well, you can catch us also on FanDuel Sports Network, and it's time for the Cavs headlines. Cavs headlines are brought to you by our friends at Garage Beer. Garage Beer comes in just 2 flavors: classic light lager and straight lime. No frills, no bitterness, no IPAs. It's just beer, flavored beer. Find your local retailers who sell Garage Beer near you by visiting drinkgaragebeer.com. Okay, the renaming of the Fieldhouse now goes by the name of Rocket Arena. The important thing is that this is something that aligns with the name change of the first company, or the family of companies of a chairman, Dan Gilbert, who back in January consolidated everything in their business with mortgages, with finances, with trying to help the American people reach the American dream, and then all coming out under one name now, which is Rocket Arena, and Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse is now Rocket Arena. We started the change automatically as soon as it became official on Monday. From the smallest thing that you might imagine, the signature in the email or the parking passes or our credentials, your credentials, to the bigger portion of it, which will probably take a little longer. But the most important thing is that as an organization, Sam, the Cleveland Cavaliers continue to try to make Rocket Arena one of the best arenas, not only in the country, but in the world. More than 5,000 events that building has held in this 30th anniversary that we're celebrating this year. And more than anything else, not only trying to empower the community, trying to make epic experiences for everybody that steps into the building, but also to bring Cleveland to the world. Because as you know, this building has hosted so many events of so many different types. The induction of the Hall of Fame, what do we have?
Top 75, the All-Star Game.
The convention, the Republican convention, and all different types of events. But more than anything else is that we want everybody to know around the world what we know about the greatness of this beautiful city of Cleveland.
Well, can I add something there, Rob? I can tell you that as a sports writer, I love the fact that the name is shorter. It makes my job so much easier. So
that's why they did it.
Right. I have to personally thank Dan Gilbert for changing the name of the building. But, there's so much that goes on there. And like you said, kind of brings Cleveland to the world. And I can tell you a way to make Mark Price jealous is to tell him that I told him this, and it's a lie, but I'll come clean right now, is to tell him that you're going to go to the Barry Manilow concert in June at Rocket Arena. Mark's a big Barry Manilow fan.
He likes Barry Manilow?
All kinds. Oh, yeah. He's seen him in Vegas.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we still like Mark anyway.
Yeah.
So, I think it's a great.
I'm making a face that I was judging Mark Price.
No, I'm making that face.
Lola.
Right, yeah, Copacabana, right.
Well, Gun Arena was the original name. Then it became Quicken Loans Arena when our chairman, Dan Gilbert, purchased the team. Then it became Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, and now Rocket Arena.
Yeah.
I'm getting used to life on the Rocket.
There you go.
Everybody was struggling to come up with a nickname or a name, which I think those names become official in a what's the word I'm looking for? But like in an organic way.
Yes.
Like you cannot come out. We're gonna call it. I think some people are calling it like the Romo or it's like now. It just
we were arguing over the
Q
nickname.
was easy,
right?
Gun Arena was the gun, but like the Rocket, I enjoy.
Yeah,
I enjoy the name. I think it'll be a hit. I think it'll be something that people can come up with. I can't wait to hear what's gonna come out of my mouth at some point. Like
it's always an adventure.
Naturally, I'm not thinking about it. I'm just saying somehow something's gonna be tied in there in my mind. But hey, I'm looking forward. The first game ever at Rocket Arena will be the matchup against the Knicks, and I think it'd be a tough matchup for the Cavs because they're coming back from playing Brooklyn as we speak tonight.
Yeah,
They're
right.
playing Brooklyn, and then we're going to talk about what's coming up then. But other things that we can talk about is the Cleveland Cavaliers playing the 2, the 3, or the 4 seed in the East 6 times in the next 28 games. They have the Celtics once, the Knicks 3 times, the Pacers twice, and then you throw in the Orlando, who is trying to recover their start, after suffering 2 injuries that were kind of hard for them. First Banchero, and then Franz Wagner. And also, they play Memphis twice.
Right.
So it's not there's no easy schedule. I always hate when they talk about Sam about, they got an easy schedule, because you still got to play the games, and you know what happens when you come into a game thinking that the opponent is inferior.
Right.
It's usually you get kicked in the butt, right?
Yeah.
But it's a tough schedule for the Cavs. I believe it's something that's going to help them get ready for the playoff, as they are going to be playing games with teams that are going to be fighting for their lives.
Yeah, this is a great time to do that too, because you're coming up at these final 28 games to play the toughest portion of your schedule, or at least a very tough portion. Ralph, you're right. Kenny Atkinson said that his greatest fear sometimes is playing these teams like the Wizards or these teams that are struggling, because that sometimes your players don't get up for those games. They won't have any problems, the Cavs, getting up for the New York Knicks 3 times, the Memphis Grizzlies, who are in position for a top 3 seed in the West right now, have been playing great basketball. You don't have any trouble, of course, getting up for a game at Boston. And Orlando Magic's like the 1 weak link in there, and that I use quote marks to say that about the Magic, because they're having an excellent kind of rebound now that they've got Banchero and Franz Wagner back. As soon as they get Suggs back, they'll be back in business. So this is a very tough but telling stretch for the Cavs. We're starting to, a lot of people, basketball fans, are starting to shift their focus here within the next couple of weeks to March Madness. Well, this is going to be March Madness for the Cavs because it's just going to be a telling stretch, and it's going to help them learn a lot about themselves as they continue to integrate DeAndre Hunter into the lineup.
And DeAndre Hunter has looked good.
Yeah.
In the first, 2 games, 3 games?
Two games he's played.
Right?
In the second game, he was the second leading scorer on the team.
And he's shooting over 50% from deep. He's still the highest bench scoring guy in the league. He started the first game, came off the bench on the second game, and the good news for the Cavs is that this is a dude that is used to, like, it's a rare type of player that can actually do both.
Yes.
And we have talked about it with Booby, Sam, about the mentality that you need to have when you come in off the bench, because you kind of know what the team needs. You know, maybe scoring, maybe it's defense, maybe this guy is smoking us. Or when you start, which is a whole different monster. And it's not easy to find guys that can do both and do it well.
Yeah, and you just rattled off his offensive stats, and they're very good, DeAndre Hunter. But the key reason that the Cavs wanted him was for his defense and his versatility there. Kenny Atkinson has said, I thought DeAndre Hunter can guard point guards to power forwards. Well, Kenny Atkinson took it a step further and said he can guard 1 through 5. He can guard opposing centers if you need him to. And I think that's something that a lot of Cavs fans are learning about him as they watch him, because I keep hearing, we need to get a backup center, we need to get a backup power forward. And the bottom line is DeAndre Hunter can be your backup at any spot you wish him to, and it's because of his defense. So as great as he's been offensively this season, he's having a career year. Defensively is where he really makes his mark for them.
The good thing about the Cavs is that they have a few guys that can guard from 1 to 5. It's not. I'm sure the Fro will tell you that, because he loves to get out in the perimeter, and like get ready to defend the point guard on the other side. So we'll see what happens. When we come back, we're going to really go in depth about this stretch that the Cavs have coming. 4 games in 6 days to start the unofficial second half of the NBA season. We do that when we come back on Full Court Cleveland. Welcome back, everybody, to Full Court Cleveland. And something that we don't get to do much often here is breaking news. And we go to our desk, a hooped wire desk for the breaking news, and they're not good news for basketball or for the San Antonio Spurs.
No, as we just learned right now, obviously you're not watching this live, but Victor Wembanyama out for the season. Sounds like a shoulder injury. Been kind of unclear on that, but we just got done talking about playing possibilities and playoff teams. I think if you're San Antonio now, you're kind of, you would think, looking for maybe capture the flag, with Cooper Flag being the number 1 overall pick in the NBA draft, we assume. Maybe you go that route if you're San Antonio, because it's going to be tough. Although you just got the Aaron Fox, you might be able to ride this out and see what happens. Yeah. But
they're going to need a little help, though, because I would imagine right now you'll be counting them out of the play-in. Good news for Draymond Green, one less team they have to worry about to win the title. We'll get to that. We'll get to that in a bit. But the Spurs are 12th in the West, so right now they would really have to drop to even get a chance of that 14%.
Yeah,
for Cooper Flag, and I don't know in terms of, I'm not front office person or anything, but Cooper Flag, Wembanyama, De'Aaron Fox. That's when you really have to start leaving it up to the front office to start putting a team together, which is something our president of basketball operations, Kobe Altman, and our GM, Mike Gansey, has done wonderfully about just because you have to be a little lucky, as Mobley falling to 3. You have to be a little lucky with Okoro turning to be the great defender that he is, with Garland being where he was. Now we have 4 and 5 from that year. Now that we have DeAndre Hunter in the roster, so it's interesting to see. But those are the news coming in from Hoops Wire that Victor Wembanyama is out for the rest of the season. Still to confirm what the cause of the surge of the injury is, but apparently it's a shoulder injury. We'll see. Big matchup they had against the Suns. They have the Sun tonight, actually, as we speak. So and the Sun's also trying to get in. Right. So that's what the games have to be played, because on paper they're kind of boring. Let's go to the ranking. No Booby, and Ryan Tyler says just go ahead, go crazy with whatever you want, Sam. So we are going to power rank, and I think this is really difficult to do just 3. Your favorite in-game dunkers of all time.
Yeah.
In-game.
Yeah, I think that's
it's hard to do just 3, because I could just think of 3 from the top of my head without even trying to go back and figure it out. But I'll let you.
Ralph, I never stick to 3.
Yeah,
right. I go like 12 deep.
Go crazy today, man, because there's more than 3 great dunkers, in-game dunkers in the NBA history.
Yeah, well, and some of these guys I appreciate by YouTube videos. Some of them I saw play live. I thought LeBron James in his prime was and remains
still
a very good dunker. Yeah. So, but to me, I remember I went to a Cavs game at the old Richfield Coliseum as a kid to see the Cavs play the Bulls, and there were 2 guys who were sitting right in front of me at this Cavs Bulls game. They only cheered. The only time they cheered was when Michael Jordan dunked. Not when he hit a layup, not when the Cavs scored, not when the lead was going back and forth and the game got more intense. They only stood up and cheered when Michael Jordan dunked. And I thought, you know what? That is worth the price of admission. Watching this guy in traffic. Now, we brought up Mark Price earlier, and we'll keep that our secret. We won't tell him that I said that about Michael Jordan.
Mark Price dunks?
But, well, not that I'm aware of, but I would say Jordan, LeBron, Vince Carter's obviously in that conversation. Julius Erving kind of invented the high-flying in-game dunk. I heard Julius Erving at All-Star Weekend talking about how he dunked on Elvin Hayes. He said it was like a field goal because Elvin Hayes had both of his arms like this, and Julius said, I dunked on him, and the ball hit him off the head, and he said he didn't talk to me for like 20 years until he asked me to come on his podcast. So those would probably be my top 3, and I know I threw Vince Carter in there, honorable mention.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are
I'll
many
tell you,
others.
that's why I think it's hard, because you got to throw in there the human highlight. Dominique Wilkins
is at the top of the list.
He's the guy that just posterized people.
Yeah.
Clyde Drexler from Pi Slamma Jamma. He was doing that from he was in college. And I'll tell you one guy that I enjoy watching dunk, even though I never rooted for him. I never played for my team. But Sean Kemp was one dude that bent the rim when he dunked. And I think that's what we're talking about. Guys that you remember just destroying.
Spud Webb.
Yeah.
5'6", won the dunk contest.
But Sean Kemp was one guy that you were afraid of, even just watching him.
He was scary when he'd go in there because, like Dominique Wilkins, 6'8", 6'9", and Dominique Wilkins was 6'8" with a 48-inch vertical. So I mean, his arms like right up here. And you're on that list too.
I'll be remiss not to mention Catch 22 dude, who was the original champion of the Slam Dunk Championship in NBA All-Star break, Mr. Larry Nance.
Yeah,
who is the guy that could fly. It was so funny because that year I had him also, by the way, if you guys go to Rock Entertainment Sports Network, I have a show now. It's called Legends Stable. And he was my first guest. And Campy Russell, and I hosted him. And I was talking to him about the lineup of that 1984. What's the first Slam Dunk Championship?
84 would have been the year he won it. Yep.
Clyde Drexler, Dominique Wilkins, Larry Nance, Ralph Sampson, Julius Erving.
Yeah.
And then you could see the difference between Ralph Sampson and Larry Nance, because Ralph probably didn't win any slam dunk championship because he didn't have to make too much effort to jam the ball. But Larry seemed to be like flying.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then, I think we have to throw in there in-game dunker like Zach LaVine, who should be considered like
a good call.
Like spectacular guy. He always made that big dunk. So I think in-game is a lot different than slam dunk championship.
Absolutely, because
you can't travel. You can, it's a whole different monster. And those guys that we mentioned, they know how to do it.
Yeah, I mean, there's been so many. A very underrated dunker in the 90s, obviously, Eddie Jones, who played for the Lakers. And people don't think of him as a dunker, but if you look up his highlights, just Google Eddie Jones dunk highlights in game. Fantastic. Quickly,
4 men that you would like to see, just if you want to fix the slam dunk championship, even though we were fine with it, McClung, even I don't know about the car whole thing, but 4 guys that you will bring in for next season's slam dunk championship.
I want to see a 41-year-old LeBron James in the slam dunk contest because I think he needs to do it. I would like to see, frankly, Evan Mobley in it, even though he contributed to Mac McClung this year by holding the
I was hoping McClung didn't dunk the Cavs season by just like missing that jump.
I was a little worried about the neck. And 2 other guys. I think you keep McClung in it until he loses.
Yeah. I want to see McClung to defend his title against Ja Morant, Zion Williamson.
Yeah.
And I want to see LeBron make one of these tournaments.
That would be a great slam dunk competition right there. The 4 guys you just named. Yeah.
No tricks, nothing. Just game dunks.
Yeah.
While you're doing it. We'll come back. We'll run a little bit. I get in the look from my producers. We'll be right back with Full Court Cleveland. Welcome back, everybody, to Full Court Cleveland. And before we go, breaking news again. Our producer, Ryan Tyler, just said, Anthony Edwards, and that we just made it a 5-man contest.
Yeah.
I think that Ant-Man has to be in there.
Ant-Man would definitely be in there, and he would definitely be the Larry Bird of the contest in that he would talk endless trash.
I know you're not a gambler, but if you were to put money, who's Michael Jordan's kid, Jimmy Butler or Anthony Edwards?
Yeah.
They both are rumored to be.
Right.
Am I saying something that you never heard before?
I've heard it, yeah.
Okay, so who would your money be in?
Anthony Edwards. I mean, plays similarly in terms of his style and can fly and soar and
all right, so
talk trash.
Round and round we go with the NBA, and I have to start. This is where I get off script here because I want to start up with the NBA All-Star break, and I don't want to criticize anybody here. I think it was a very good Saturday, considering everything that went on, and like you mentioned, for those of you that didn't watch it, in the skills challenge, the Spurs team of Chris Paul and Victor Wembanyama went first, and what they have to do is do 3 bounce passes into a hoop, and then 1 long pass to a hoop, and then a 3-point shot, a nail ball shot, and a corner shot, and you get 3 opportunities to do so. So these guys thought, hey, you know what? Let's beat the system. They forgot about that it's a skills challenge, not a fast like a clock challenge. I mean, time isn't of the essence. But they went in and just like picked up the ball and threw them in some direction of the thing. They got disqualified for cheating. They weren't happy about it, and the Cavs won with Donovan Mitchell. And the second time they win the skills challenge, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
They won it here in 22. And then Saturday, this is my thing, Sam. And again, I'm coming in from a situation that I know what the league is going through with, and I don't want to talk about ratings or anything, but I know they want to make it a spectacular thing. They want to make it an entertainment event. But I find myself very hard to understand how you want or you expect the players to play hard and compete when you basically make a show out of the game. So I have never seen a playoff game or a basketball game where you stop in the middle of the game to give an award for 10 minutes on something that wasn't even funny to begin with. So, again, I think the game was more competitive, that up to 40. Well, maybe the guys love it because, hey, we don't have to play hard for that long. We just go hard. But it's hard to stop and then do these interviews and then do another presentation. It became kind of like the celebrity show. That was the Friday day. That's something I had to go away with. But I think it's that part where the league is a little bit in the crossroads, whether how you make it entertainment for that new audience that they're trying to hit so much,
right,
and how you not ignore that audience that has gotten you where you are right now. Because what they're doing to the audience of our age, 40 and above,
saying we don't need you.
It's kind of like it's kind of like them telling Larry and Magic that they didn't do much for Michael Jordan and everybody else that came after. So I understand that you gotta hit that new generation.
Sure.
I just don't think that they're doing it in a way that they can actually hit everybody at the same time.
Right. And as an older guy, I do love the entertainment and the fun of the weekend. Some guys or gals my age don't. But I love that portion of it. I do think the entertainment part is fun. It was over the top on Sunday because, like you said, Raf, you're taking these huge breaks during the course of games that aren't half times. Right. During the finals game was almost more boring because of that than the first two games. Look, Raf, back in our day, and all the way up until like 2007 or so, the All-Stars, it was East versus West. They would kind of loaf a little through the first three quarters.
The second half was,
But the fourth quarter, they would always turn it on. What do? You don't want, you don't want them to play too hard, right? Because it is.
But that's why up to 40 is fine.
Play up to 40, whatever, or play the full four quarters, and you have to put in some. To me, we're in a day and age where, like it or not, you have to put in some type of financial incentive for the team that wins. Well, I don't know what that is, and people are like, well, aren't these guys making enough money as is? It doesn't matter. If you put in a financial incentive, they will play harder in that fourth quarter, and that's all you want. You want the All-Star game to look and resemble almost like the first NBA preseason game, right? Where you're kind of going, the veterans are kind of going kind of hard, but then the fourth quarter comes, it's like, you know what, let's go out and see if we can win this. And I think that that's the idea that they need to get back to. And I think they can get back to that with the right institution of rules and guidelines and, frankly, some money.
I just think it's hard to make it a competitive basketball game when your focus is making an entertaining event.
Right. Like I said, too over the top.
And it has nothing to do with me not finding, what's his name, funny, the commercial dude. Huh?
Kevin Hart?
Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
He's not funny. To me, as a basketball fans, to watch an All-Star game with the best group of broadcasters of pregame, halftime shows or whatever inside the NBA guys that were being honored, to throw in Kevin Hart there in the middle to do commentary, then it takes away from what you want the guys to do.
Right, exactly. And
so I think that's the crossroad. I'm not criticizing any. I think the crossroad is whether you want to make it a competitive game on Sunday and get out of your all entertainment and funny thing from Friday to Saturday, or you just want to make it an NFL Pro Bowl thing and just play flag football and do skill challenge all weekend long.
Right, and I think that's an excellent point. It's if you want them to play harder, you can't have a comedian doing the commentary. It seemed like it got on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's nerves a little bit when we saw him. Kevin Hart was cracking. I thought I actually like Kevin Hart, so I think if you want to have him on there, do it at halftime or something. Have them do a routine, and then at the end of the game, maybe have them, present the trophy and goof around or whatever. But yeah, all game.
You can't
I thought that was
interrupt.
a little too much.
Yeah, you can't interrupt the game. I don't think it's not, well. That's our take for the NBA. I think the good news is that we'll be watching next week, next year anyway.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Either way, we'll see it.
But just again, I think there's a crossroads that the league has to figure out, as opposed to trying to change formats and everything.
Yeah.
I think they're just trying to figure out how they entertain every single different audience at the same time without alienating. What's that word I'm looking for? Without
forcing it.
Without putting aside, alienating. An audience that wants to watch basketball, and there's an audience that wants to watch the hot mic guy, and so you know what I mean. So get all your entertainment done Friday and Saturday, and play basketball on Sunday.
Perfect.
I think that would be a good solution.
Have you applied for the commissioner job yet?
Hey, what's going on with the Lakers and the Hornets? They played yesterday. LeBron missed two. While Luka was just watching two shots at the buzzer. But what's going on with that trade? Because, we have talked about here in Full Court Cleveland about how they got taken to the cleaners, the Lakers, for Mark Williams. And then next thing you know, Mark Williams is back, and the Hornets are his agent is doing one thing. Fill us in. What's going on there?
Well, you can't. Obviously, that trade was rescinded between the Hornets and the Lakers, and you cannot go back and try to rework it out because the trade deadline has passed. So Mark Williams' agent, the Hornets center who was traded to the Lakers, then traded back to the Hornets, or sent back to the Hornets after failing a physical, his agent has said, we've had all these doctors check out Mark Williams. He's fine. We have no idea why the Lakers backed out of that trade or why he would have failed a physical in LA. You look at the Lakers, it's like 40-year-old LeBron James, Luka Doncic, who's still finding his way, maybe Austin Reeves, and who else? And I think that they're in trouble, even though that's going to be a great trade for them for the long term, the Luka Doncic. I think they're in trouble this season.
Well, we're in trouble because we went past our time, so we're going to take a break. When we come back, our favorite part of the game, of the show, we're going to go off topic, like we haven't done it all night long. So we'll be right back in Full Court Cleveland. Down the stretch they come here in Full Court Cleveland. Ryan Tyler, Sam Amico, yours truly, Rafa Hernandez Brito. NBA is back, thank God. And down the stretch, again, we go off topic. And I still can't believe that not many people I know are talking about the game that will be played tonight as we speak between the Canadian hockey team and the American hockey team. Talk about playing guys taking stuff seriously. This is an exhibition game.
Yeah, right.
But playing for the flag outside this country means so much more. And apparently in hockey means a lot here in this country as well. The Tkachuk brothers should be given the Congressional Medal of Honor. They should be getting a statue at the mall in D.C. And I don't care what team they play for, I will always root for them. That game, the first game, the Canadians and the U.S. hockey teams, was the most exciting hockey game I have watched in a while. Aside from the first 9 seconds, that saw 3 fights and the Tkachuk brothers just getting at it. But hockey is the most exciting game live or on TV, and the finals of the Four Nations Cup is tonight between the U.S. and Canada. Are you a hockey guy first to begin with?
I always say I would be a huge hockey fan if it didn't go at the same time as basketball season. But because it's basketball season,
you're too busy.
I'm too busy. I can't pay that close attention. I do try to catch. I do follow the standings and keep an eye on that, catch some highlights. And then when the playoffs get around, between the NBA and hockey, obviously my focus is totally on the NBA. But
I buy their season pass.
The hockey season.
Whenever there is, I hate the fact that they're in the NBA season because I don't get as much time to watch.
Yeah, they should move hockey to the summer for us.
John Michael, who is the voice of the Cavs on TV.
Yeah,
when we're on the road, we enjoy watching. We've been lucky that we were in Boston for the Beanpot. The Beanpot is the tournament that BU, BC, Northeastern, and Harvard, I think it is played.
Yep, I think that's it.
And it's a big tournament in Boston, and it's. I love to watch the game. I think it's a beautiful sport. It's competitive. I can watch that on baseball.
Yeah,
I can watch any game, any team. It doesn't matter if my team is not in it. I'm a Canadians fan because I love the uniform. Nothing other than that. But I can watch anybody play hockey. I can watch Little League baseball. I can watch high school baseball and enjoy it.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing that happens to me with hockey. It's just exciting.
I'm a Maple Leafs fan, so
okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
For the same reason. Yeah. Thank you.
I used to wear my Canadians sweater every time I went to Toronto for press conferences with the UFC, and I didn't make many friends.
I can imagine. I don't know.
I'm gonna bring my Canadian jersey for sweater for one of these shows.
Yeah. Well, that's I'll wear the Maple Leafs.
And if you never watch a hockey game, watch tonight and just listen to the Canadians sing the anthem.
Yeah.
I think it's unbelievable. Right. And I still believe that I'm the best Canadian, the best All Canada singer in Cleveland, and I have never been invited to sing the anthem when any Canadian team comes to play the Monsters, or when the Raptors G League team comes to play the Monsters,
this is your chance.
Charge, or even when the Raptors come to play at Rocket Arena. I'm open. I'm available.
Chance to audition.
Not
on the show, but after the show.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land. I love that.
Pretty good. Yeah? I would hire you today.
Hey, we got to go. They're turning the lights off here and turn the heat on, too. We'll be right back next week. Thank you for joining us on Full Court Cleveland. See you next week.